I'm alive, I do or die. I'm alive, do or die. I'm alive.
How are we doing, folks? Welcome back to the Sean Atwood channel. Welcome to Stone Circle Investigates. We're diving into some more paranormal tonight. I'm joined by the wonderful Dan. How are you this evening?
Hello, I'm good.
Excellent, excellent. Of course, if you've seen our last episode, Dan was telling some of her encounters with the paranormal, her torment that she's gone through in certain sections of her life. And this evening, I thought we would dive into some of the elements that I'd went through. And as usual, we have our little setup here. And what I've done this evening is the cat balls, I put them on little lavender bags. And like I can literally move this around and it will not go off, right? So in order for this to go off, something's going to have to like play around with the insides. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the REM pod, which is here. This gives off its own electromagnetic field. And the closer you get to this aerial, the more lights will light up. Just like this. And I will fix the background lights. One moment. And we shall crack on. But tonight I thought we would talk a little bit about the shadow people and fear feeders and people who have experienced what science would refer to as sleep paralysis and the phenomenon around the world that seems to creep into the bedrooms of many people. And to such an extent, there was a documentary called Nightmare that came out a few years ago, all about the phenomenon of the sleep paralysis that people go through. But it's not the chemistry of the human body that's the fascinating factor. It's the experiences that these people were having. You know, miles apart, different countries, different cultures, all experiencing these long, skinny, red-eyed shadow people and a man in a hat. And, you know, sort of the skinny, red-eye. Oh, also, before we get started, there was a lady in the side chat. Here we are. La Female Rosa, I'm going to post my Twitter right now, and I want you to message me. If you've already messaged me, just re-message me again, and I'll make sure we're connected live on the air so that we don't forget. Okay. So, what was I talking about? Okay. Okay. So the sort of tall, skinny, red-eyed shadow people, and sometimes they have red eyes, sometimes they don't. It's kind of easy to sort of, you know, shadowy human figure shape. It's quite easy for you to sort of think to yourself, well, you know, that I'm not really surprised that a lot of people are experiencing that. It's quite a easy thing for you to come up in your brain, if that makes sense. Your subconscious, if it wants to put together a form, if you will. But the man in the hat, this almost like the leader of the pack, shall we say, when it comes to these groups of fear feeders, which we'll call them for simplified terms. And we'll go into a little bit more about that. But Dan, you've had your own experiences with tall shadow individuals, like you said on the last show, and I'm sure many of the viewers have. And if any of you have had experiences with the shadow people, sleep paralysis, the man in the hat, let us know in the side chat. And what to do, instead of putting the 3 Qs and telling us, put the word me in capitals, then a dash, and then tell your story so I can start. It just helps me go through the side chat, basically. But for me, growing up, the life was full of odd encounters. There was things that were moving. There was bumps in the night, and prominently there was these really vivid, intense, and terrifying nightmares. And as a child, you only understand the concept of a nightmare. Sleep paralysis and complex human sleeping conditions aren't really at the top of your list, And where it sort of became too much for me to handle was when I started realizing, in fact, I'm skipping too far ahead. So my earliest memory of this is being at a property that I lived at with my parents growing up in a place called Leamington Terrace when I was from primary, let's say primary 3, 3rd grade, up to I think maybe my 2nd year at high school before we moved from there. And the earliest memory I have is waking up repeatedly thinking that I'd woken up, and at the end of my bed was this tall man in a hat, and I didn't have any red-eyed shadow people. They were all just tall things. And it's scary as a kid. It's scary as a kid sort of trying to process what's happening. You've got to understand, I was very used to the concept of the unexplained. My mum used to speak about her mum, who, if you've ever seen The Sixth Sense with that little boy and Bruce Willis, my mum was very much like my mum's mum was very much like the little boy in that movie. And her whole family lineage is Irish on my mother's side, going back generations. And you go back further enough, and you find that most of her family was burned at the stake for witchcraft. And it just adds more sort of context to how long my family ties are with witches and the weird and the wonderful. So having these repeating nightmares, repeating moments, not realizing that, of course, I'm thinking that I'm waking up and seeing this, right? But 9 times out of 10, I'm still asleep, okay? And fear feeders are there to feed off your fear. And I'll be honest with you, I believe that there's a choice for these demons, if you want to call them demons. I don't call them demons. I'm just going to call them beings, right? I believe there's a choice for these beings because after a while, I started seeing the man in the hat in mirrors, in reflections of panes of glass. And it would always be, if I was sitting down facing something reflective, I would see him behind me, right? And it freaked me out as a kid. And it got to the point where I didn't like mirrors. I wouldn't have mirrors in my room. I couldn't lie in bed at night with my light on in my room and the curtains open, because the light on in the room against the blackness of the night would create a reflection on the mirror. If that makes sense.
Sorry, I was just putting Nova down. That's why I've been quiet for
That's
a couple of minutes, but she's now out for the count, I think.
Well done. Congratulations. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that sort of stuck with me for years. And I was a weird kid. Like, I remember walking home from primary school when you're at that age where you could walk home. I lived quite close to the school. It was minutes away. And like, I used to imagine what I would do if I went in and I found all of my family like end gamed, life ended. And I would prepare for that before I went through a door. It was weird, right? And don't get me wrong, there was no trauma that made me do this. It was like this preordained notion to prepare myself for the worst anytime I opened a door. It's weird, right? I don't know if it's any relevance to this, but it was weird, right? And I remember it vividly because there were so many times where I was like, oh, what if I was to go in and this had happened and this has happened? What would I do? Weird kid, right? So time goes on, and I've noticed that these beings, throughout my interaction with them, the younger I was, the less intense the interactions were. There was a lot of standing at the end of beds and staring and then slowly moving towards you. And that was it. But when I hit good old puberty, right? My God, did the thing, it amped up massively, right? And it really started to take form that I could be in a dream state and then think that I had woken up from the dream state. But then it turns out I am still living and I am still in that dream state. And if you have ever woken up from a nightmare, have a vivid memory of going for a shower, doing your morning routine, and then suddenly realizing you're still in a nightmare, right? It is one of the most draining and overwhelming experiences I've ever had. It really was wild, right? And time went on, and I'm in my 20s now. This is still happening. And it got to the point where I actually started fearing the traditional method of sleep, right? Like the traditional method of sleep where you lie down and your body is in a routine that has been through evolution and we are falling asleep. And I started to make sure that through the wonders of botany, I just passed out at night, right? Just passed out. And that seemed to really make a difference, okay? And it got to the point where I remember vividly a couple of times one year where I wasn't able to pass out and I had to fall asleep traditionally. And it was like all of these chickens came home to roost for these guys. Like it was one of the most vivid and most creative forms of fear-based nightmares I'd ever seen. It was like it was like Alice in Wonderland, twisted, things twisted into other things, and then came the new character in all this, which was a big black dog. And I mean greasy, monstrous, snarly. It seemed like the dog replaced the tall, skinny shadow people, and it was the man in the hat. Can we please get the lights up? I'm assuming you mean lights up, right? Or lights.
Or maybe like the lights because it is a bit blurry, like looking at it.
Oh, you want the lights up on the screen? So you want this?
Well,
you want this
I'm assuming that's what
that
you
was
mean.
my hand. That was my hand, by the way, just in case anyone freaks out. Can we get the lights up? Right, hang on. One moment, please.
I know, because if they've just joined, like, you can't really see what any of that is.
Yeah, you probably won't be able to see it any better.
Yeah.
I need to get a wee light for there, is what I need to do. Actually, hang on a sec. Let me see if this makes any difference. Not really. Hang on. Anything that goes off is definitely going to just be me right now. Just over here. Like these. Crystal can go there. I don't know if that's any better. It's probably not. But we will get better. We will get better with these lighting. I will set up more lighting.
I think you just need like a little tiny lamp, like over.
Tiny. And now the background lights are too much. There we go. Complicated. And my hair this bit of hair is not playing ball.
The hair. My hair's not looking good. Oh no.
So this dog got introduced to it, and I remember I was out in Ibiza on a holiday with all my friends. I think this was 2000 now, year 2000, and I'm on the balcony and I'm recovering from a couple of nights of hardcore partying, and I have another one of these vivid nightmares, and it was a roller coaster. I mean, it was every possible of nightmare scenario from every horror movie you've ever seen involving a hotel replaying over and over and over and over again. And it started in the most messed up way, where I kind of rolled over to the side and I was looking through the glass into the room, and the dog just came through the glass, and it was an ordeal. It felt like hours and hours of this ordeal. And it wasn't until I started learning about lucid dreaming, right? Lucid dreaming, and the whole concept of if you become aware that you're dreaming, you can take control of your dreams, right? And then if you can control your dreams, then you're the master of it.
I've never experienced that. I have never controlled my dream.
Oh, man, it is.
But I don't even understand how you can do that. Like I thought, I've never experienced sleep paralysis or whatever, despite everything that's went on with me. But I've never fell asleep and been in control of what's happened.
Yeah. So now I'll only ever have weird deja vu dreams or lucid dreams. And I remember the first time, because if any of you have ever seen the movie Trainspotting, it's a Scottish movie. There's a scene in that where one of the characters is like ODing, basically, right? And he's lying on a bed and he starts sinking into the bed. And it's like this sinking, fallen feeling into your surroundings. That's what the beginning of these nightmare dreams would feel like. And I felt myself going into it. I felt myself falling into it. And I was like, right, we're just gonna we're dreaming, we're dreaming. And then it took over, the dream began, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just try and make this lucid dream thing work. And once I got to grips with all of it, there was nothing these entities could do to me. There was nothing. I mean, I can't remember too much about the things that went on, but after about 30 seconds, I was more interested in flying about the place than I was worrying about shadow people. And it was like, once I took away their power, it was done. And the data says to me that these individuals, these creatures, they'll only scare you as much as you can handle at the time, right? And they're kind enough to do it in your sleep, where you can wake up and write it all off as a bad dream, right? And we have to say to ourselves, this is very much like Monsters, Inc., right? The movie Monsters, Inc., right? We have monsters that come through from another dimension and they harvest your fear and then they take it home, right? That's basically what's happening here. And for me, I don't really think I can pass judgment on something that feeds upon what it needs to survive, okay? I don't think these are demons. I don't think these are anything other than interdimensional beings or things that have never lived. And yeah, that's my take on it, because once they knew that I had the upper hand in my dreams, they're gone. And now my interactions with shadow figures and things like this have always been on a neutral plane. They're not positive, they're not negative, they're very neutral. And I'm not opposed to a neutral encounter, if that makes sense. I don't want anything removed. I'm very much happy with myself, and what's meant to be will be. And God help anything that tries to attach itself to me or anything. Like, I am safest house as me. And this whole experience in my life, when I found out about this movie and other people seeing the man in the hat, it blew my mind, because it put into the reality this whole concept of beings and how emotions and energy and how we feel can be fed upon. And there's many fear-feeding beings. And I just want to say to everybody, my encounters may not be your encounters, right? My experiences may not be your experiences. I may have interpreted everything I'm saying wrong, and might have the wrong end of the stick. But this is my experience. I'm only talking about my experiences when it comes to paranormal stuff. I think too many people, when they want to try and find answers, their mind can be polluted by false knowledge and things that are put out there maybe falsely, if that makes sense. And for me, I love all of this. I love the good and the bad and the neutral, because that is what makes up the world, is the positive and the negative. One can't live without the other. And it's one of the most common things that people sit down and talk about are shadowy things in corners, things that they see when they wake up at night. And when the man in the hat pops up, I feel this, I wouldn't say a connection, but it's almost like, you know, when you meet someone and you get talking to them and it turns out like last year you both went to the same place on holiday and stayed at the same hotel, and you have that like moment where it's like, oh man, we shared a moment of existence, right? It's kind of like that feeling you get because you knew somebody else was there and you know somebody else has gone through it, whether it's positive or negative, right? And so the hat it's more Indiana Jonesy than cowboy-y, and less trilby than Indiana Jones, if that makes sense. It's very much this shape, but some people see it smaller, some people see it with a flat brim, if that makes sense. Sometimes it's slightly curved. You know, I don't know. But like I say, it went on for until I took control of it, until I took control of my dreams. I'm very comfortable in the dark too. I very much like, I've got one of these sleep masks that has like the padding that goes around your eyes, and then the sleep mask that goes over it, so you can have your eyes open inside the sleep mask, and you kind of get that complete darkness blackout sensation with your eyes open. And I do all of my thinking, all of my conjuring and things like that in that state, because like I believe sometimes in the darkness we can truly see. And I don't mean things in the dark, I mean things in our mind that the world distracts us from seeing. And I love it. Every magician needs a hat for sure. I'm light, so I don't fear the dark. No, you should never fear the dark. Okay, we're going to jump into what you guys have been saying as well. Mad Hatter, me, shadow people have always messed with me from my closest, from my closet? That's closet, right? Like your cupboard. Yeah. From my cupboard, every cupboard. Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, it's odd, right? Because I mean, I guess if you were an interdimensional being and you were making a tactile entrance, a cupboard's a good option. It's kind of like standing outside your bedroom door without having to worry about anybody seeing you. I imagine that was me, right? Yeah, that was me. Crap myself. That's how I would see it. Like it's a good entry point. It's a good tactical entry point, if that makes sense. Yeah. Casper Sites is brilliant. I love a bit of Casper Sites. Okay, I had a demon shake my bed out of anger when I was 12. That was the only contact that I know of. I have had encounters with spirits more than once, though. I can remember parts of my past. That's wild. All verified by Bev. Nice. Well, you see, here's the thing. I can't remember anything ever physically touching me. Even in the worst possible dreams, I can't remember a sensation of anything. It was just the fear they were after. That's all they needed. It wasn't about making me feel pain or anything like that. It was just about the fear. And man, it was wild. It was wild. I mean, I remember nights where it was like one part of my conscious was trying to pull me out of the dream, and I'm getting pulled back into it. And I remember there was times where I could open my eyes and I'm fully paralyzed. And then you see the world closing in and your eyes closing, going back into it. Oh, bleh! Horrible. All right. Okay. Different episodes. Man in a hat at the foot of my bed, either sitting or standing, reaching to touch my feet. Yes. This isn't a witchcraft flame in DNA. Iris too. Interesting. Because for me, it makes more sense if these things were really wanting fear to go after people that really weren't believers. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like somebody who doesn't believe in this stuff would be way more scared of it, but I don't know. The night coast hands-on energy work, I had the most out-of-body experience with figures standing next to me on the corner of my bedroom, a portal like removing negativeness from within. Hyper anxiety over extreme trauma, like scenarios that have not actually happened, is what I believe is back burned as witches DNA person. Interesting. Yeah, anxiety over extreme trauma of scenarios that haven't happened. I wonder if that's where like my unexplainable fear of heights comes from. Like a proper mad fear of heights. Like, I often wonder if in a past life I just stepped off of something, because you know when you have those intrusive thoughts, right, about like how close can I get to that before I freak out a ledge or whatever, right? Like, I have this overwhelming fear of the ledge, but the ledge just looks so. Hey, come and stand at the ledge. Come on, nah, no. And like my fear of the ledge is so great that I'll just lie on the floor and ball up into a ball because there's no way I can get to the ledge then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was you when we were in a lift.
Oh my God. Yeah, tell this story, please. Tell this story, please. Tell the story.
Oh my
Take your time with it though. Take your time, because this is a belter.
Yeah, so he's got a fear of heights, as do I. But my fear of heights is like on an aeroplane or like proper sky high or on a roller coaster. So we were in Wetherspoons, right? Cheap and cheerful, a few drinks, something to eat, and we're on the bottom floor, so that was cool. Yeah. And the toilets were up the stair, and it was only like 3 flights. Honestly, it was not.
It was 2 floors. It was ground floor, then first floor, then the final floor. Yeah.
But me being me, I'm one of these girls where it's like, right, I'm going to the toilet. You need to come with me. You need to wait outside. Like, I'm going myself. I've always been like that. I'm a little weirdo. I just don't like going places myself or trying to find.
Sorry, I get my steps.
Where the toilet is myself for some reason. And I don't even know why we didn't take the stairs. I have no idea, because
I clearly remember making a big deal about this glass elevator, right? Where I was like, glass elevator, yeah, glass elevator. And do you know, I think
you were excited to go on it because so we were in Blackpool, and I think we either hadn't been to the pleasure beach or we were going to the pleasure beach, and you were like, this is like a safe ride for me. Being in this
that's right. This was in my head. The glass elevator was the test ride for going on the big roller coaster to see if I could handle it on the top floor.
So we go to the lift, and it goes up to the second floor or whatever. And as
it went up 300 feet, Dan. 2 miles into the clouds. This went.
No. Do you know? As tall as a house is probably how high this lift went, right? But it's see-through. You can see people about you, like everything's safe, and there's metal rails. So he's holding on with 2 arms.
I've stretched my body out. 2 limbs, all 4 limbs are out, mate. My feet are at the side of the elevator.
No, it's only me and him in the lift at this point. And as we get to the second floor, we need to go out. He's hyperventilating, holding on. He's like,
oh god, I'm touching it again.
And there was people that were about to come into the lift, and they just look at him and they think, nah, mate, we'll pass. Like, I don't know what's going on with him. We don't know what he's taking. We're not getting involved. So I'm like, come on, Annie, go to the toilet. You're like, no, I'm not okay. No. And I'm like, oh my days, are you kidding me on? So then the lift doors then just close, and then we're going back down. And I'm just like, stop. Like, I cannot deal. It was one of those, like, you have to be there moments, but the state you got in, the sweat dripping off you, and I'm like, there's having a fear of heights, but literally the size of a house was how tall this lift went.
Yeah,
it was nothing.
Too much. It was too much.
The knuckles were going white.
Oh yeah. By the time we got back down to the floor, my palms were so sweaty that I was just sliding about on that rail. Like, it was too much. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a terrible choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't the tower. It was in Wetherspoons. It wasn't like it wasn't the Eiffel Tower, not the Eiffel Tower. The Blackpool Tower.
That was the glass cage of doom. Is what
that
was.
It was Wetherspoons. The building itself wasn't even that tall. Like, it was
300 stories. Okay, don't listen to Dan. It was 300. No, it wasn't. It was like 2 floors, and it was the most terrifying ride I've ever been on in my life. But before that,
even see outside. All you were doing was looking at people.
It doesn't matter. I knew what was behind me, Dan. I knew what was behind me. No, well, listen. If you think that's bad, Dan, we went to this place called the Edinburgh Dungeon, right?
Oh no! Wait! What about when we then went to the Pleasure Beach and we were on that bobsleigh ride? Do you remember?
Listen, I don't cope well with high things.
So bad.
Listen,
like, I've got a fear of heights as well, but usually when someone says, "Oh, I've got a fear of heights," it's like proper heights, not literally 3 meters.
Listen, stop judging me. Stop height shaming. Stop height fear shaming me. Right? Okay. So, last little bit of this story. What was the next part of the story? What were we about to tell?
Oh no, you were talking about the Edinburgh Dungeons.
Oh man! So we go to the Edinburgh Dungeons.
Was the best.
No, we went to Edinburgh Dungeons. You go through the whole like role play tour. It was awesome. But then right at the end,
yeah, there's a ride. But we didn't know about this.
You get this one to ourselves. So obviously, a lot of people in the olden days, if you done a bad thing, you got a rope around your neck and away you went, by law. So this ride was to simulate the falling of that, right? And I didn't even know this was happening. We step into a room. They're like, "Oh, can everyone get into one of these seats?" I'm just walking into this seat, and before I know it, this freaking thing comes down and locks me in.
No, so we walk in to sit on it, and the guy that works there is like, "Right, is anybody pregnant? Has anybody got any medical issues that we know about?" And you're looking about like, why does he need to know this? Because we didn't know what was coming. We didn't know what was going on. So we're sitting down on this ride. The bar's over us, and he's looking at me like, why is this happening? What's going on? And then it starts to go up like higher and higher.
First of all the lights go off, and all you hear is.
Yeah, but you can't see anything. So I mean, that's good. But you can't see
nothing.
And it's going higher and higher and higher for so long, and you're just like, what? It just goes
and it drops you. And just as you're at the peak of your absolutely filling your underpants, they just take a picture, right?
And it's the best picture ever. Like your
I
face.
swear to
like
God.
I'm living life. I'm laughing. I'm
Listen,
loving life.
listen. We go after the ride to the big foyer area where all the pictures come up on the screen, right? And my picture comes up, and the whole room is poorless.
Everyone is just going.
The fear. You can actually see the whiteness of my. I'm like this. Ah! Dan's beside me, not even holding on, like this, going. Ah! It was horrendous.
And I wasn't pregnant at this point, by the way. Let me just say.
No, this was years ago. It was. There's so much trauma that we go through as boyfriends and now fiancés. But look, we're gonna. That was
boyfriends and girlfriends. I'm not
boyfriends and now fiancé. Listen, you know what I'm saying. So we're going to go back to some of your comments here. When I see the shadow people, they're more like phantoms or glimpses of non-living persons. Life on repeat. I've always seen these types of shadow beings my whole life, and were the first entity I saw. Yeah, interesting. For me, it was probably the same. It's the first major incident that stands out anyway. So my last sleep paralysis event was 2022. I woke up paralyzed and feeling a pressure on my right side of my head and tingling on the right side. I found to gain the dominance in my body, and I could yell F off. Yeah, you got it. Question: do you have ADHD? Very likely, yes. In my opinion, no divergent has hyperanxiety driven brain, in my opinion, tied to general lineage of cellular level of the past license. Yeah, I'm inclined to sort of believe a lot of things that are mislaid, or a lot of things that are labeled, or science try and define in the modern age, has a lot to do with the age and what lies within your DNA. 100%. I have seen the Hat Man. Okay. I remember having a nightmare. Both my parents had passed away. I woke myself up screaming and bawling my eyes out. I couldn't move for a minute or two and jumped off the bed and felt my knees crying. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotion that can be conjured up. There's a lot of different ways of getting us into an emotional state that individual creatures, beings, spirits, whatever you want to call them, may choose to harvest for one reason or another. Some of it's energy harvesting, of course, and being able to then get up to mischief with said energy. Ron, do you play with elemental realm? Have you had any cool experiences? Ron's very much, when it comes to the elemental realm, he is very much has to center himself in the nature. I spent a lot of time wild camping, going around all kinds of forest areas, and really becoming comfortable with solitude in nature, in the wild, if that makes sense. And I've had so many profound experiences that for some people would be totally lame. Like if I made a movie about all of my most magical experiences, it would be so underwhelming, right? Compared to what we see as magic in Hollywood. I've had moments where like a leaf has fallen that has been one of the most profound moments of my life, because we're talking about intelligent response from what we are told is just a tree, right? It's just nature, right? Nothing more to it, right? Go pay your bills and your taxes, right? Distractions. And when you boil it down, everything's in sync. There's certain microscopes, I can't remember, I think it's a black lens microscope or something, and it will break down to such a high level of magnification what any cellular structure is made of. And that's when we get into the realm of quantum physics and neurons and atoms that are popping out of reality, in and out of reality simultaneously. And they exist in us and they exist in this table, right? And when we boil down to the fact that if we are all made of a freaking compound that exists and doesn't exist at the same time, we really have to put into perspective what our known interpretation of reality is. And if anyone knows a double slit experiment and things like this, you'll know where I'm coming from. I couldn't even shout out to my shout on my dad, who had just told me to go to my room. There was two behind me. My eyes were strained to the left. I had to pry my head and ask for Jesus and his mother away. That's wild, Big Red. Hang on a second. I had to pry. Yeah. See, that's the interesting thing. I said that I never felt them touch me, but I felt the prying. Like, for example, I would look at my arm, there'd be nothing holding my arm down, and I'd be like, do you remember Big Red, Wolf of Wall Street, when they took those yellow super pills and, like, ah! And he's trying to like pull his arm and that's very much what it's like, that entire scene. Do you know what I'm saying? But do you know what we say to the shadow people? We just say to them, we don't care. Not the shadow people. Look at my face.
Oh my days.
Can we zoom in a little bit more?
Oh,
you know who she looks a little bit like? You know the small chunky robber in Home Alone with wears the little hat, wears the woolly hat, right?
Stop it. No, she does not. Stop.
She's hiding. It's like, I'm having none of this.
Yeah, that's when, like, she just wouldn't stop crying. I tried everything, and I thought, right, I'm just going to sit you up on the couch and see how you like it.
Why does she look like a tiny Joe Pesci? Why does she look like Joe Pesci?
Stop it.
Like,
she hated it.
What, am I a clown?
Like, honestly,
am I a clown to you? I'm here for your entertainment? Is that what you're saying? Uh-huh.
She only loves just like being with her dad.
Oh yeah.
For me, feed her, change her, cool. I then want to be cuddled, and it's like nap, crying hysterically, and then dad takes her.
Honestly,
and
it's because you deny your
this
gifts.
Is the best life ever.
It's because you deny your gifts. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Right, let's carry on with this. Let's just leave her there, just giving everyone like a condescending look, like.
Wait, someone said how old is she? She'll be 3 weeks on Tuesday, so she's still new. She's still fresh.
Her name's Tiny Pesci. Tiny Joe Pesci. Right, okay. I have sleep paralysis many times. I've had nightmares more often about the house I lived in when I was little, and there was different variations about a particular demon. So it was the demon. Oh, look at your dog. That is a happy looking little doggo. Was the demon in the house, and then you moved out the house and then started having sleep paralysis about the demon in your house? If so, I would consider that also an act of kindness, because that is using an existing fear memory and not introducing a new fear memory, which then gives us the ability to write off that as a dream and get on with our day. You know what I'm saying? So let me know if that's like, if it was you had the demon at your house, moved out, then later on in life had the sleep paralysis about the demon, or if the demon only existed in the sleep paralysis that was then staged at your house in the memory. Okay. Shadow people appear behind corners that I see. Yeah, listen, I am super on board with the weirdness of peripherals. I really am. But here, do you know what? This is crazy, right? So we had a restaurant years ago, and this restaurant was in many of the Scottish newspapers, many of the Scottish ghost books, and all this kind of stuff. And the restaurant was sitting on an old harbour in Dunbar that had a smuggling tunnel that used to go to the old castle in the cellar. On the street that the restaurant was on, we were on the corner, and then right down the other end of the street, there was effectively the morgue for Dunbar, where we lived. And there's too many stories to tell you tonight, but I'll tell you one. This is where I learned the skill about not reacting, right? And has anybody experienced like the 2-dimension? Do you remember like blockbuster movies? When a new movie would come out, they would have like a big cardboard cutout of who was in the movie with the name of the movie on it, right? So that's a 2-dimensional image. So if you look right at it, you can see it. But if you were to turn it sideways, you would get this weird impression of a 2-dimensional flat image from the side, right? Yeah? Okay. So I had this experience with these weird cellar ghosts, if you will. And they always look like little raggedy children, like as if someone had done like a wish.com version of like kind of have Samorser, Oliver or some shit, wherever that is. And I got into the habit of like, so for example, you go down into the cellar and you go down the steps of doom that you would have if anyone's ever had a trap door in a bar that you have to go down, oh man, the stairs of doom, right? And then there's the ice machine, and then that's the only modernized part, was the initial part of the cellar. And then after that, it is proper, like, Fritzl looking madness. Like, you're all hunched down and you're not crawling, but you're not standing. And that's where, like, the chest freezers and storage were and stuff like this. And I would see these little kids like this from behind a freezer, right? And it would happen, like, you'd be bending down, and as you're going down, you would see it. And then as soon as you'd done that, gone, right? So I got into this habit of, instead of turning my head, I would freeze, and they would stay in my peripheral vision, and they'd never move, right? They'd never move. They never really do anything. And they were certainly not three-dimensional. It was weird, man. It was weird. That was my first experience with that. And that property was wild. Okay. I mean, we're talking like little handprints, like little kids' handprints on your bed sheets. Like, you know, if you're sweaty and you put your hand on a bit of glass, you've got the handprint, right? Well, imagine somehow that, but on fabric, right? Weird. And then we would hear this little girl running around that house. Like, it was wild. It was really wild, but it was really unsettling vibes. Okay. Like, I never believed it was a little girl for a second. I never felt like it was a little girl. It was really odd. And I tell you something, if you've got a living room, right, in your house, and your door for your living room is one of those like glass panel things, you're asking for trouble. Okay, trouble. Because we had one of them in the living room of the restaurant, and there was a long corridor. You'd go down the corridor, past my room, past the bathroom, up 3 stairs, past the living room, and then walk straight into my mum's room. That's how it was laid out. So effectively, if my mum came out of her room, she'd walk past the door, go down the stairs. And she was the chef in the restaurant, and she would wear a set of whites. And I'm telling you, man, the amount of times that I would see my mum or a woman in white walking past the door, going down the stairs, okay? And then I'd look over at the door, then my mum would come out of her room. And it was like, whoa. Those moments were whoa, and everyone in the house experienced it. It was like one of those. But the white person, the lady in white, no negative vibes, just heebie-jeebies. Like, your hair stands up on end. Oh man, it was wild, and this just went on. This property, this went on and on and on. Seen the spirit of the man who used to own it, who passed away. And I'm going to save the rest of the stories, which actually occurred in the restaurant itself, for another night, because they're good. There's a load of them. I want to jump back to a few of your questions. Casper Sites, we read this one. What's your opinion on night terrors? Well, for me, Tracy, everything I've talked about tonight is my experience with night terrors. It's I mean, if we want it, there's 2 ways of looking at it, Tracy. We've got what science will say. You know, you're in REM sleep, and when you're in REM sleep, you produce a chemical that paralyzes you to stop you acting out your dreams. Your brain floods with DMT, and you go into that dream state. And if you wake up in the middle of that, you are going to have a bit of a rough time. So science will tell you that is what is happening to you. It also explains the old hag sitting on your chest. People have this weight on their chest. I believe that what you're experiencing, or some people are experiencing, and definitely what I experienced, was night terrors produced by the man in the hat, the shadow people, the fear feeders, to harvest what they need. But when we look at the scale of nastiness, if the only way I could survive was to feed off of someone's fear. I could do it in the most horrific ways possible. Like, think of all the horrific ways you could do to scare someone. All the horrible, if you were a phantom being, it could come out of nowhere. All of the twisted stuff you could do. But you choose to do it in a dream state. You choose to only deliver what someone can handle. And you choose to do it in a way that gives people the ability to write it off as, you know, just a nightmare. That warrants thought. Because if you've ever experienced something that does not care, okay, about you, about how you conduct yourself after that experience, you will damn well know the difference between something that wants to terrify you and leave you with an impression, as opposed to something that chooses to do something in a way that's an essential part of its existence, but tries to live in harmony. Just like the orchid and the moth. Look it up. It fascinates me. You know? I'm just going back into the chat here. Just saving some of your questions here. I think Dan's... yeah, you guys are on fire tonight. Saving all these. Right, let's jump into these. I think I got them all. Dan?
Yeah, sorry, I was just settling it one.
Just a creepy noise coming through your mic. Right, okay. The cartoon Monsters X, I believe, was about okay, and scaring children to get their buzz. Yeah, I mean, you could be 100% right, 100%. But again, everyone walks away. Everyone gets to go home for dinner in Monsters Inc., right? Everyone gets to go. I got to go home for dinner in my encounter. So I think you're pairing two things together that fit well, but it doesn't add up, if that makes sense, because that's a one-time harvest, right? Like, there's no, like, you can do that, you can harvest that once, right? You know what I'm saying? So does that make sense? I get what you're saying, though. Dan, do you wear protection stones?
By protection stones, is in what, crystals? I don't know what that means, protection stones.
Yeah, crystals and stuff like that. You've always had a call for crystals. Talk about your crystals.
I mean, I used to wear a rose quartz necklace, and I also always carried one with me. There was also like a clear one. I can't remember the name of it. That was always with me as well. But recently, not really. I know for Christmas though, you've got me wads of crystals, and I don't know, like, they're all different colours, they're all different shapes, and I know they all mean a certain, like, they're all linked into a different thing, and what they present and what they protect you from. So I need to look into that. So as of right now, no, but it was always the rose quartz, the little pink one. But that was love. That was for love, that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, listen, when I was doing the thumbnail, I came up with some AI generated stuff. So this to me was what, without the red eyes, this is what the tall, skinny people look like. And this is very much what the man in the hat, right, often had this little silhouette-y light behind him, right? It was odd. Not majorly, but it was like it was very important you knew the hat was there. I feel like that was the vibe I was getting. It was like, look, doesn't matter what you take from this, make sure you highlight the hat. Does it work to command these energy attachments to go away and declare that they're not? Well, here's the thing. An energy attachment, I don't really think that's what we're talking about here. Like, for me, an interdimensional being isn't an energy attachment. It's something that I'm too dumb to really know the true meaning of. but I feel like these have come from somewhere. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, does that vibe? Does it like? Can you put one in the chat if you sort of get what I'm saying with that? Because I very much feel like these have come from somewhere to us to grab what they need to go about their day. And I'm really generalizing and like summarizing that, if that makes sense. And I could be totally wrong. And again, do not take this is not an educational evening. I am not telling you facts. I am telling you my experience and what to me I believe. So to me, they're facts. But it's just odd. Do you know about the Slender Man or Jeff? I know about Slender Man. Slender Man is, you know what? We'll cover Slender Man one night because it's, you know, how Slender Man was created by the internet. It was created by.
That's a well, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah.
The internet got together and decided they wanted to create their boogeyman, right? You know, everything had its own creature, right? Even bridges, trolls live under bridges. Everything has this lore and has a cryptid or a being attached to it, but the internet never. So the internet came together and created Slenderman. And I'm telling you, man, when a little girl is when a knife is used on a little girl 60 or 70 times because two other little girls were told by Slenderman on the internet to do it, does that not make him real? Have we not then created that monster through belief and manifestation? In a very much a stretch of the analogy, I will admit to that. But fascinating that a bunch of nerds on 4chan years ago wanted to create a boogeyman, and just through their own idea, project, it's manifested so much from movies to actual murders to everything. And it's really a great topic for the argument of what makes something real. Because that was real enough for those two girls to do what they did. Oh, Hollywood, my G. That is like one of my favorite things. There's a reason Hollywood, that one, and of course the other classic, there's a reason they call it spelling. Oh, do you know what I'm saying? And you know, it's only since I've realized through talking to Bev and Azria and Danny, do you ever like open your mouth and something comes out of it? And at no point do you doubt what you were saying, but you have no clue where it came from. Like you have no clue why you know something and why you have such conviction and belief in you knowing it, but have no idea where it came from. Since learning about all of this residual DNA and energy, that's absolutely fine. Like, it's made me realize so much. And it's almost, again, it goes back to shut up, just go with it. You don't need to understand everything to fully believe in it. Okay? I don't really know how my light switch works, but I believe when I press it, the bulb. I don't really fully understand, like, you know, what water is made of and how it's formed. But I know if I drink it, it's going to quench my thirst, right? But we all believe in these things. Like, we believe that if we get in our car, we're going to go somewhere, right? And I think we're so conditioned to not believe. I think we're so conditioned to believe only what we are given by the powers that be. And we have systematically whittled out of existence people's want to believe. And that's the saddest thing ever. Because we look at our baby Nova staring off at the ceiling and smiling at things that don't exist. And I want her to never lose that. You know, you know, it's always a very interesting conversation with my children when they say, "Oh, there's a monster under my bed," or "I seen something," and you know, I've got a very interesting approach as a parent to a lot of this stuff, and a lot of parents want to comfort and they want to say these things don't exist, but that would be like saying that the pigeons don't exist, right? They're a nightmare. They're a nightmare, mate. Stinking. Absolutely stinking. There's a pigeon that lives around here that has lost both its feet. What, mate? Where'd your feet go? You know what I'm saying? So how can I be true? You know what I'm saying? And before everyone's like, well, what about Santa? What about Santa? That's fun, okay? All right. I'm watching you, side chat. But you know, you got to find that balance between not terrifying a 5-year-old and things like that. So you got to have that balance. But people fear the unknown. Okay. So when something becomes known, are we not then teaching ourselves to not fear that? Because that's how I see it. That's how I see it. And in the same way as you do not have to sit and look at that pigeon, right? In the same way as you can choose to not go to the park and sit and stare at that pigeon and try and understand that pigeon, you don't have to try and understand this. You know? You don't have to force yourself into believing anything. You don't have to come out of your comfort zone. But for those who are on the fence and they want to believe and things like this, a lot of the time things become too much for people. I think once people have one solid moment where they have, like, for example, Dan, she had experiences when she was younger that on paper sound terrifying. But then she realized after being an innocent bystander at a Ouija board what true scary encounters could be and the difference between the two. And I think that's so prominent because in the same way as, you know, oh, look, there's a pigeon, kids. It's a pigeon and we're explaining about the pigeon, you know, so is a bear. A bear's just an animal too, right? But I'm not so keen on my kids just sitting 10 foot away from them, admiring them. There's certain things that you have to instill that readiness and that savviness in our kids. But you need to decide as a parent. You need to decide as a parent what you're willing to tell your kids. And you can tell me that I'm wrong, and you can tell me that there's a time and a place for telling our kids about this stuff, and that I agree. And I've chosen my time and my place, and I hope you do too. So if you've got any more questions or anything you want to throw at us, let us know. It's just gone midnight. What I'd like to do is going forward on these Sundays on Discord, I want to start getting your stories. I am going to just jump onto the Discord just now. If anyone would like to come into the general voice chat, I'll drag you into a separate room. If any of you have got any of your own stories you'd like to come and share with us, I'd love to hear them. The Discord will be opening up again this week. Talk about sleep paralysis. I'm not a doctor, bro. Like, I sort of gave the specific. Oh, here's Mac here. Hang on a second. Mac, can you hear me? Oh, hang on. I've got streamer mode on. Hang on. Mac, can you hear me now? No, I can't. Oh, hang on. We need to go up here. Hang on. Yo, can you hear me now? Yeah, Mac, I can't hear you. Let me just check my settings. Oh, no, Mac, it's my fault. It's my fault. Stay there. Can you hear me, Mac?
Yeah.
All right, nice. So yeah, you were just asking about sleep paralysis, right?
Yes.
And
it happens. I wouldn't say a lot. I mean, like I think around October, around Halloween, it happens the most.
okay.
I would say it's at least 20 times a year, probably. I would say.
Yeah, I think.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, what's your sleep paralysis like? Like, what's the theme of it, if you will?
Most of them is something sitting on my chest. You know, I want to move. I try to yell for Shelby, and
Yeah.
of course, I think that I'm yelling, but I'm
Oh.
obviously not.
That's the worst. That is the worst when you try and shout out, bro. Like,
Yeah.
the worst.
I try to throw my leg off the bed so I can like actually get up.
Yeah.
I try to jolt my body. I can never do it.
Uh-huh.
It's just stuff like that.
You know, in like a movie where someone's like been given a substance and like they've got a moment to like make a noise for somebody to hear them outside, so they like try and roll or throw their body at something to make a noise. That's what it's like. It's horrible. It's horrible.
What does it mean? Like, what is it? What is it all about? I don't actually understand. I never looked into it much, so I don't want to know if that's what. I feel like if I look into it too much, it'll happen again. So I just don't bother with it.
Have you still got the live stream open as well, mate? I'm getting some feedback.
Oh, I'll fix it up. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, those are. It's actually bats in a graveyard that are flying about my room. In the background, it's just not lined up particularly straight. So Mac, you've got the scientific explanation. Mac, I'm going to mute you. Mute your mic, Mac, while I'm talking, mate, because it's driving me nuts. So science will tell you that what you're doing there, Mac, is waking up mid-REM sleep, where your body's naturally paralyzed, but you're also riddled with highly psychedelic substance within the realm of DMT, which only really happens during REM sleep and right before you pass on to the other world. I can't remember who said it was. It was like, for example, like if a tiger jumps out a bush at you, and right before the tiger tears you apart, your brain floods with the DMT, and all of a sudden you're then dancing with unicorns and skipping through the clouds. You know what I'm saying? So science will tell you that you're waking up mid chemical reaction in your body. And for me, I've experienced that too. I've experienced the sleep paralysis without any paranormal side of it other than the unsettling feeling of all of the elements of sleep paralysis, the heaviness on the chest, the horror of not being able to speak, the feeling like you're talking like Leonardo DiCaprio in that scene of that movie where he's like,
you know, I've said that I've never experienced that, but see, actually thinking about this, I think I have.
Okay, tell us about it.
Like, no, not that I've had a dream or whatever, like it's something, or like I'm floating out of my body, but there's been so many times where I've woke up like gasping for air, but I can't move. And I can't really remember my dream, but something like has woke me up.
That's sleep paralysis. You might not even have been dreaming at that stage.
But that's it though, I don't ever really remember the dream that's happened. It's always been like something has woke me up to wake me up.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you may have found that has happened right before you started dreaming, and you've maybe just
No, it's always at the end. I know I've been sleeping for a while. I even remember though that I've tried to like sit up or scream for whatever reason, but I can't.
Yeah, that is sleep paralysis. 100%.
Okay, then maybe I have experienced it.
So yeah,
in my head though, it's just been like there's like something or some spirit floating above you, pressing down on you, and you can see it.
Well, I mean, you've experienced a literal woman floating in your room.
Yeah, but it's never caused me harm though.
Yeah, but that also wasn't sleep paralysis either, because you ran around the house. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it's not happened in a long time. Well, actually, when I was pregnant, a few times it did happen, but since little Nova Pops has been born, it's been quite cool.
Yeah.
So maybe I have experienced it then.
I think. Well, here's the thing. Like, one thing has nothing to do with the other. So, for example, like the two things can be very similar, but they're not the same thing. So sleep paralysis from a clinical point of view does exist. Paranormal sides that have total mirroring symptoms like sleep paralysis that are not sleep paralysis. In my humble opinion, these are different encounters that people are having. Do you see what I mean? Like the cold and the flu, they're kind of the same germ, right? Runny nose, we're sneezing a lot, we're doing all this, except one's a bit more severe than the other. And that's how I interpret it, if I'm being honest with you. And, you know, Danny, people keep offering to send me their books. I've had a few people offering to send me their books about their research. And I always humbly decline because I don't want anyone's knowledge. I'm on this weird that everything I need to know is being put in front of me. Like, for example, when we've done the first few weeks with Beverly, all of this knowledge, giants, fairies, remote viewing, this, that, and the next, it was like, whoa, this is all amazing. I want all of this. And then you sort of begin, when you try and understand everything, okay, you start forgetting what brought you on the journey. And after the first 3 or 4 weeks, I was like, you know, I'm good at some of the things that I do. I think what I want to do is analyze all of the skill sets and things I can learn from Bev and all these incredible people that we're interacting with, and not try and emulate or have what they have, but allow to propagate the things that are already within me that line up with the teachings of them. Does that make sense? Please tell me that makes sense. Because I think we could get too overwhelmed with, and again, this is going to sound random. So for me, I get a bit bogged down with free will when it comes to trying to make a decision sometimes about what to invest my learning time in. What is my self-motivated learning this year going to be? And I wish I could cut myself into 50 different versions so that there was 50 different versions of me just studying, doing all the things I want to do. And do I want to be really good at 50 things, or do I just want to start mastering things? I think that's the road for me. I don't think I want to be a jack of all trades. I think I want to master the things that I'm being drawn to. Is the man in the hat a shadow person? Okay, so that's a good question. So when we look at this image here, right, this is obviously AI, right? Do you see how this guy's like a little bit translucent, right? And it's almost like he's been brought to you on 1999 internet dial-up, okay? He's coming through on the modem. You know, your mum can't use the phone because you're on the dial-up, and it's like, I feel like that's what they look like. And then I feel like he's coming through on like a proper modem, like 200 gigabyte connection modem, HD. Put a spotlight behind him, baby. Let's get that hat illuminated, baby. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Is he technically a shadow person, or is he more of like a really well-formed silhouette backlit man? Does that make sense? That definitely a shadow person, 100% shadow person, because he's a shadow, right? A little bit see-through. This dude is always like, but he is arguably, I've never seen anything but the silhouette. So he could be a shadow. He could be a real dense shadow. You see what I mean? So I'm going to bring up. Look at the guy. Look at the little Joe Pesci right there. Little Joe Pesci. Little Joe Pesci.
Oh, bless her. She was so raging. Like, she was just...
Little Joe Pesci. Okay, so here is... There's a documentary called Nightmare. And literally, if I play any of the trailer, they just copyright the whole video. They are ruthless. Okay, but here is their image of the man in the hat. And this is the exact kind of hat that my man in the hat would wear, except he would have a tiny little divot, like a tiny little hint of Indiana Jones hat at the top of the hat there. And here is the cover for it, Nightmare, or The Nightmare, whatever you want to call it. This is a documentary. It's a documentary all about thousands of people around the world, all having sleep paralysis. Some people having alien encounters. Some people having the man in the hat encounters, and all of that. Nikki, can you hear me? You there, Nikki?
Hello.
How you doing? How you doing? Have you got any stories or anything you want to throw into this whole realm while you're here? You got anything you want to throw into us? And also welcome. Nikki's one of our awesome mods as well. So thank you very much.
Hi, Nikki.
Hiya. Yeah, one of my weird memories that I've got is when I was really young, probably about 15. I had a summer job. It was with my mum. We were working in a barn in Droxford in South Hampshire. We were packaging garden products, and we had to get loads of stock out from the other barn to come into the main barn where all of us would be.
Was it an old barn or a modern barn?
Very, very old barn.
Oh God! Right. Okay. This is never going to end well. Right. Carry on.
No. Yeah. My mum was very partial to seeing things and having experiences herself. Me personally, I never have. So took everything with a pinch of salt. But she swears that there was a man in a hat in one of the barns. She would never go out there on her own. It never used to bother me. But I have seen, me and my co-worker, we got to work early one day and we sat in the barn. We got a tea room directly opposite. And my boss come in, put her bag down. And this bag is like a big old, it's like the big shopping bags, the recycled ones you get nowadays. But it was cloth and it had like 2 or 3 lunches in there.
Okay.
And that moved about 3 foot across the floor.
Oh.
And me and my friend just like absolutely freaked out because I wasn't a believer or anything like that. And that was the first thing that happened. And then the second thing happened was probably about 6 months later. I was getting something out of the barn and we had to go up in the loft of the barn. And was carrying things up and down there, me and my friend. And as I was coming down with some boxes, it felt like someone kicked the bottom of the ladder away. And I fell on my back on the ladder. And from that day on, I have been absolutely petrified of heights.
Yeah, I've never had I'm trying to end you from a ladder being kicked away experience. Like that's a totally different thing. Like that's scary.
Yeah, it was very scary.
Yeah, super.
I couldn't speak for about 5 minutes. I winded myself and everything.
Yeah. See, it's one thing when things are moving or you're having dreams about things, but when things are kicking things or throwing things, we're in a new realm now. Okay, we're not even on the same topic. It is a whole new realm of encounter compared to shadow people and all the rest of it. And you know, I've had an encounter before Dan and I's show the other night. I'm going to show you something. So, if you've ever seen where have I put it? Oh, I've moved it. So you get these little strips of Velcro that you wrap around cables, and it just fixes the cables together. And there was one under the desk that kept sticking and scratching my knee. So I took it off, and it was maybe about 9 inches long. It was a long one, and about 3/4 of an inch wide. Big chunky quality cable tie, right? So I put my thumb and wrapped it around my thumb until it became like a big self-sealed sellotape roll of, you know, Velcro with a hole in the middle. And then I hung it over a clothes hook, right? One of these big metal fingers that you screw into the wall to hang your coats on. And the one in question is probably the length of my index finger. It curves up. You all know what a coat hanger looks like, right? Like one of these things on the wall. It was slid down that, okay? And then subsequently, it hit me in the back of my head, right on the back of my head, and stuck to my hair. Explain that. I mean, just explain that. You can't explain that. You can't explain that. And again, it doesn't even faze me. I wasn't scared. I wasn't freaked out. To me, something had just thrown that at my head to let me know it was there, and carried on with my day. But like I say, I know a lot of people get affected by things like this. And don't get me wrong, people would interpret somebody throwing something at them as a strictly negative thing. But I don't know that. I didn't get a negative vibe off of it. I just got a bit of Velcro stuck in my hair. So it's interesting. But again, big difference between Velcro in the hair and kicking you off a ladder. You know what I'm saying? Now, one thing that I do have that nobody else in this streaming collective that we have is I live in the capital city of Edinburgh, of Scotland, which is Edinburgh. And we have got a grim history, and I mean real grim history. And we have lots of old places, lots of wonderful things that we can go and see. And I think with the power of the Sean Atwood channel, we might be able to get some access to the vaults and some of the places that are used for TV and promotions rather than necessarily just open it up to the public, if that makes sense. And there has been occasions where people have been granted like a 12-hour pass to go and do technically an overnight.
All right, okay. When we were supposed to go to the vaults.
All right. And here she goes. She goes, chime in.
So
this was romantic. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. I got ill. Okay, tell the story. Roll the tapes. Roll the tapes.
So no, wait. When was this? It was Halloween.
In fact,
this was when we had went to the Edinburgh dungeons.
Yeah.
So that was like in the afternoon. Then
that was the bit you planned. Okay.
That's what I
you
planned.
were to plan the day, and then I was to plan the evening.
I was doing something during the day. You planned something during the night. So let's say it was like 3:00 in the afternoon. We went to the Edinburgh dungeons.
Yeah.
And later on in the evening, not even.
No, listen, like you had booked yours for 3 in the afternoon. We did the day thing. Then we went to Spoons, and then we had 6 hours before the.
It was 10:00 at night. Actually, we were going to the Edinburgh vaults to see Edinburgh life and the past, the ghosts which were still there.
Yep.
I was buzzing for it, right? So we done the dungeons. That was brilliant. We then went to Wetherspoons, got cheap and cheerful. I think we got 1 or 2 drinks. We got something to eat. We then walked about in the pouring rain for 5 hours, waiting until 10:00 at night to then do this Edinburgh ghost tour, which I was so excited for.
Yeah.
So 10:00 comes, and we go to the meeting, the gathering.
Oh, you missed out the wonderful fire thing I was going to take you to. The big
the Edinburgh Halloween thing where
pagan festival.
Which we couldn't find.
All the way up. No, we walked all the way up to the top of the hill to find that they'd left about an hour and a half ago.
The top of a hill. It was not a hill. It was a mountain.
Yeah, mountain.
It was not a hill. It was like a 2-hour walk to see this.
Yeah, this is day. But you got to understand, this is during a period of my life where I had very little money. If any of you have seen that movie where the 3 dudes, one of the guy goes out to get the munchies and he kills the police horse by accident by feeding him the munchies, and that guy has to take that girl out on a date with like $4. That was my life at this part. Okay, so just to understand.
Yeah, so we've done that. We've done the Edinburgh vaults. We've had something to eat. We've had something to drink. Then I was buzzing to watch this amazing show for Halloween with all this fire and people dressed up. Walked 2 hours up this big steep hill. For it not to happen, and it was pouring the rain, so I'm like, oh cool, whatever, at least we've got the Edinburgh vaults to look forward to. So we're then doing this trek all the way back down, and we're starving. Let's have McDonald's.
Yes, let's go and get some hot food in a dry place.
After we've already had a Wetherspoons, and people that don't know who Wetherspoons is, it's like a cheap and cheerful place in the UK.
You know what Wetherspoons is, and you live in the UK. Get a life.
No, but I don't think America has that. Like, It's just it's like a burger is £2. You can get a massive jug of a cocktail for like a £5. It's so cheap.
It's like $45 for 10 eggs right now. Americans don't understand. They can't be going out right now. They've got eggs to buy. You know what I'm saying?
Like if you go to Wetherspoons, it's like, can you afford to actually go out to eat?
Well, here's the thing about Wetherspoons, right? They've got pints of beer in Wetherspoons, like from £1.10 right the way up to like £9, depending on what your budget is. So it can be an expensive night, or it can be like, how have we only spent £9 and I have 7 drinks in front of me? Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? Wetherspoons will always be a little cool place for us, because that was our first date. That's where we went.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we go to Wetherspoons.
We've gone up the hill. Okay, we've gone up the hill. We've come down the hill. This is like 3 hours.
Then we get something to eat. I think I just get chips or something, because you were getting some. I think you wanted a burger or something. I thought, oh no, if you're getting something, I need to get something. Although I wasn't hungry, I just got chips or whatever.
Sure, we'll just pretend that's the dynamic.
Oh, shut up!
Since we're live, we'll just pretend that's how it is.
Okay, well,
I want 2 chips and a hot chocolate now.
No, but anyway, so we got another little something, and at this point, it's like 45 minutes before this ghost tour begins. So we're out walking in the pouring rain, and we see this bench.
Oh yes.
And we're sitting at this bench, and beside the bench is a pile of sick. So someone's obviously spewed at this bench, and we think, do you know what? Who cares? We're just going to sit here. Yeah. We'll just wait.
If it's a choice between standing or sitting next to sick at this point of the night, I'm sitting next to the sick.
I turn around and look at you, and your eyes are half closed, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be brilliant. So anyway, fast forward, I don't even know, like half an hour. We then walk over to the meeting point to where this ghost tour is going to begin. Now, bear in mind, we had been in Edinburgh since like 2:00.
Yeah.
Because the votes was like at 3.
Yeah.
So we spent the whole day there, and it'd been pouring the rain. We've walked so many like miles in total. Like it was wet, it was cold. We're ready to go home, but this has been paid for. So anyway, we go up and we see the tour guide, and he's like, "Hi,
what are your names?
This is the name. This is the time. Blah 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 blah." And the dude's like, so this was for 10:00 in the evening, and the guy's like, "Oh no, you were supposed to be here at 10:00 in the morning." And I just look at him like, "You."
For a start, who's booking a ghost tour at 10 in the morning? Like, is this like the PG ghost tour where the absolute most terrified people have to go before midday?
No. But we are both drenched. I'm shattered.
Oh, yeah.
And I just look at him like, I'm going to kill you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So you just look at me and go, "I'm sorry, I'll rebook it for another time. Let's just go home in a taxi." No, because do you know what? See, it got to like 5 minutes to 10, and I'm like, do you know what? I'm ready for it now. Like I'm excited. I'm ready to do this ghost tour.
Yeah,
it's
pitch black. It's exciting.
It's eerie. It's dark. It's cold. So I'm like, let's do this. And the guy looked at us as if we were like idiots. He's like, "No, you were supposed to be here at 10:00 in the morning." Like,
and he was like, "Okay, so can I go online now and book for this tour?" And he's like, "Nah, mate, it's sold out. It's an evening tour." And I'm like, "That's what I thought I was booking."
Exactly, guys. That's exactly what I said to him. Like, I have walked about in the pouring rain. Anyway, we get a taxi home. Right, and that's all fine. The next morning, he wakes up so ill. He's so ill. That's from walking about for 5 hours for absolutely
every single
nothing.
charm. I caught them all, mate. But I think I had shorts on and a hoodie.
You did,
I
but that's
was
all
not
you.
dressed
No, listen,
appropriate.
that's all you wear. Who cares about the weather forecast? Who cares if it's icy? Do you know what? It's -6 right now outside. He still goes out in shorts.
Well, yeah, but listen, that's how I regulate my heat is through my shins.
So
So
anyway,
if I've got
the next
jacket
morning,
on, I don't need. You know what I'm saying? Carry on, like, go.
next morning comes, and I'm like, I can't believe this happened, and you're like, Dan, I'm so ill. I need a triangle sandwich with cheese in it. And I'm like, oh no. So when he's ill, his go-to is a cheese sandwich, but it needs to be cut in a triangle.
Only when you're sick. Only when you're sick do you get the triangles.
And
100%.
I'm like, oh my days. So for 2 days, he had the cold, the flu, of course, because you're walking about in Edinburgh in the pouring rain when it's freezing for 5 hours for absolutely nothing. And I was raging. And what did you say? I'll rebook it. Don't worry. And guess what? Have we been back? No. I have still not been to see it. And this was like 2 years ago.
Well, it's not as good as we're just about over COVID. Let's go on a 10K walk.
Oh yeah, when we both had COVID and I made him do a 10K walk because I wanted fresh air.
So listen, I'm not being funny. This was like I would still, we're still in the honeymoon phase of the relationship. Do you know what I mean? Where you don't quite have the balls to turn around and go, you want to go outside? You want to go outside, hen? I've got the COVID, love. I'm going nowhere. Nah, we weren't. No, she was like, hey, I really
this is because it was the honeymoon stage and you would still do anything to make me happy.
I do. How dare you? How dare you?
No, I said, we're going to go out, we're going to go a walk. And you're like, okay, although you had COVID.
Listen, I'm not being funny. Listen, hypothetically, I may have had COVID and hypothetically may have been in bed for 10 days. And after those 10 days, I realized if I was going to die, I'd rather just die near a hot lady, right? Being my wonderful Dan. So I was like, I'm going. I don't care, right? I'm breaking all the rules. I put on the masks. I put on the sanitizer, and the color of milk and clammy, I headed off on this illegal journey.
It was like a 2.5 hour journey for you to come
did
through.
The Queen not die on the way?
See me with COVID.
No, that wasn't COVID. That wasn't COVID. When the Queen died.
It was COVID.
When the Queen died. When the Queen died on the way to see you, that was not COVID. That was another time.
No, it was.
Yes.
It was. Shut up.
All right. Sorry. Thank you for letting me on your show. I'll stop interrupting you. Right. Anyway, so yeah, but this is the thing. Like, so Dan was feeling a lot better than I was. She was like, "Hey, listen, do you want to go for a walk?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. You're so beautiful. Of course I do." Right. So we get ready. And I come down the stairs and my dumbass brain makes eye contact with Dan's mum. And I hear a conversation about having to go and pick up like cat food and all the big heavy shopping things. And I was like, hey, we can pick that up for you. We're going out in the car. And wow. So the journey begins. We head to this beach. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it was a wonderful day. Right, but I was not prepared.
You know what? It was like
heard.
see the film The Beach. Like it was a very secret beach. It was so like
it was nothing like. It was absolutely nothing like the beach.
Yes.
That was absolutely
like okay. See, for Scotland, the sea was pure blue. The sand, there was no litter. It was the sand looked like sand, right?
You actually just hear and see whatever the hell you want. Like your brain will just go. I would rather see this.
Is that not a good way to be though?
I guess it's jealousy.
I mean, why would you not see the world like that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, sure.
So anyway, in my head, if you're from Scotland or the UK, you know how a beach looks, but this beach,
it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a breathtaking. Am I still in this country? Beach. I will be honest. It certainly wasn't the beach from the movie The Beach.
I didn't say it was beautiful. The beach, but I think you did. In my
definitely think you did. I think you're forgetting this is all recorded on the internet, and I'm pretty sure you did. All right.
Well, in my head, for it being in Glasgow,
Yeah.
It was
beautiful.
very,
It was
it was
beautiful.
very, it was the beach
And
vibes,
I
right?
should have
okay?
known the way it began. We began at
Kaz,
the
it
top
was
of
like
a
North
hill.
Berwick, I think.
It was at the top of a hill with this mad set. You know when a set of stairs
Actually,
is
let me
wrapped in
just pause
chicken
you for
wire.
a second. No, hang on.
Okay.
Turnberry Golf Course. So Donald Trump owns the golf course, which is there. So it is a good beach, right? Like it's kept very like pristine. It's good. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Okay, so we're at the top of this hill, and we're at one of these like wooden outdoor staircases that's covered in chicken wire. That whoever put the angle of these stairs in was a sociopath. So we go down the stairs, and everything starts off great. After, I mean, this place is huge. There was like wild birds and ponds that were freaking awesome. There was like an old monkey sanctuary. There was loads to do, but everything was like 2 kilometers apart. So we start this walk and everything's great and we're having a wonderful time. And then about 3 hours in, my body goes, okay. If you're not
3
hours,
about 40 minutes, mate.
Hey, I was doing well. So my body starts talking to me and it's like, listen, I know you're trying to impress this girl.
No. So
you're going to shut you down pretty soon. So choose how you're going to expend the last of your energy. Make sure you spend it wisely because we are going to shut you down. And it just went on, man. And it was wonderful and it was great. But if I honestly feel like if I had like an Alka-Seltzer or a tablet that frothed up, I would have faked a seizure. I would have put it in my mouth and frothed up and just fell shaken to the floor and been like, oh, I'm so glad that I'm not walking anymore. You know? But then what happened, Dan? We seen a man with a hot chocolate.
No. So before that, I'm like, we see these animals. I don't know if it was a llama or a goat.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. So I'm walking over and you're like, Dan, I can't do anymore. And I'm looking at him like, what you talking about? What do you mean you can't do anymore? But he looks like he's gone, he's done. So okay.
We've done 10K with
Time
COVID.
to go back to the car. But then we see this older couple that are drinking a hot chocolate, and then he just shouts as loud as he can, "Oh, where did you get that hot chocolate from?" And I'm just like, whoa.
We've done 10K. She didn't bring any snacks. She didn't bring nothing. I was just raw dogging it out in the wild with COVID with no snacks. And then I seen a man with snacks and I'm like, I will either find where he got this from or I will take everything from this man, including his hot chocolate.
So this couple then tells us, they just point like, oh, just stand here. And it was like a little library, like a little charity library. It was so cute. So we go in and you're like, right, I'll take one of this and I'll take this cake and I'll take this and I'll take this. So you have that and you're fine. But then we've got the whole entire walk back to do.
It was when I realized that I didn't live in a world where we push a button and the car comes to us. If you ever, you know, when like, it's what I imagine, right? The time would feel like before you're called in to be given a prison sentence. Like you're just willing the seconds to go slower. You're holding that coffee and you are making time pass as slow as possible. Because I knew as soon as that hot chocolate was done, we're heading off to the car.
He had the cheek to say to me, why have I not got like a Tesla? Something you press a button and the car comes to you. Like, why have you not got a car like that? I've just got a little Mini Cooper, right? Like, why have you not got bear in mind, I have done our journey driving here for us. I thought we'll go on.
I don't care. You drove an hour to torment and torture your pool partner with the
bear in mind, he has promised my mum we're going to go to
okay.
We're going to a shop to get cat litter and cat food and whatever else.
No, listen.
So we can't let my mum down.
So has anyone ever gone to the gym, totally overdone it on a treadmill, and then went home and then stood up a couple of hours later and your legs are like, haha, this is no longer...
bear in mind also, you promised to cook dinner for me as well.
I laid it on thick, right?
We end up doing all this walking.
No. I am telling this part, my love. So we get back to the car. I'm done. I am done. There is things hurting in my legs that I did not know existed. Okay. And we've
I
done the
thought you
whole
needed
cute,
one of those
like
like
the cute hands,
things.
holding hands, Instagram posts on the way home, and I'm just like, this could be the last photo of me ever taken. I might not make it back to the car. So we get back to the car and we drive, and my legs have started to go into like that cool down mode now. So like lactic acid is setting in, like everything that you don't want to happen to your legs is happening, right? So I'm in the car and I'm just happy like a golden retriever to have the window down, my head in the wind, and some music on, right? So we get to the supermarket and I get out the car, and within the moment I stood up on my legs, I knew I was in serious trouble. Okay. You know when your legs fall asleep, you know when you like lie on your leg funny and then you try and walk with it and your knee all your knee wants to do is bend fully so you fall over, or lock completely so that you're completely stood up straight. Both of my legs were doing this, right? So I'm looking at Dan, I'm looking at the shopping carts, I'm looking at the entrance to the thing, and I'm like, I can do this.
Wait, so we pull up an Aldi, right? And we walk in.
Well, I'm getting to that part, Dan. Don't take this part from me. This is the key part. So I'm looking at Dan, I'm looking at the trolleys, I'm looking at the entrance, and I'm doing the math in my head of how I'm going to get there without falling over. So I like go in for a big hug with Dan. I'm like, come on, let's go. And we go over and I get to the shopping trolley. And I know as soon as I get to the shopping trolley, I'm safe because I can just old man Zimmer frame this shizzle, right?
But I had COVID as well. I'm at the end of it. I'm fine. Like I'm good to do all this walking.
Oh no,
he's at the start of it.
Oh yeah, like if you've ever seen Kill Bill and they do that 7-step Japanese thing, every step in my head is like that, right? So I'm stepping and we get in there, and every single thing that her mum wanted was sold out. Every single thing. So there's me, right? You know when you see a movie and like the heroes think that they're about to complete their mission and they've spent 5 days walking in the wrong direction to only end up in an empty cave, and 2 of their friends have lost their lives along the way and it was all for nothing. That was the look on my face. Like if it was a Netflix series, the camera would have zoomed in on me and zoomed in the back.
We go to like the cat litter, and you're just like, just pick up any, and I'm like, no, it needs to be this certain kind. So I'm like, we need to go to another shop.
I'm so desperate in my head. I'm thinking, how can I end every single person in this supermarket, get away with it just so that I can lie down and have a nap right now? Do you know what I mean? Like it was desperate times in my head. So out we go. There's one of my legs now turning to jelly. And it's like, we warned you that we were going to shut this down hours ago. Okay. We get in the car, we go to the next supermarket, everything's in stock, but now everything is 40 times heavier than it usually is. Okay.
Oh my God.
So like you should be able to pick up cat litter and maybe burn off 2 calories. My body is taking 9,000 calories per step, right? I am done. Okay. So we get everything into the trolley and then we enter the longest queue.
Plus everything what you're making for dinner, because I'm like, I'm starving.
Dan's chirpy. Dan is
scarily
chirpy.
I don't know how to cook, so I'm like I still need
Dan
to
is
eat.
scarily chirpy at this point. Like she has bounced back and she's all like, oh, I'm all excited about life. And I'm looking at her like, I think I want to get euthanized right now. Like I'm at that. And we get everything, we get it back in the car. I get back and I'm like, right. And I'm now doing the mathematical.
You went straight into the kitchen and automatically start cooking.
Oh no, because if I had sat
over and done with.
My body went, okay, we're going to let you sit down one more time before we shut you down. So I was like, I need to get everything cooked now, and that's it. So I went in.
I can't even remember what it was that you bought. I think it was pasta or pizza. I can't remember.
Oh no, it was all entirely oven based.
Oh,
we got the cat litter, we got everything.
We got everything.
In my head, I just wanted to like throw it through the window when we got back from shopping. And I learned a valuable lesson there, that when you are suffering from an illness that shut down an entire planet, and it tells you not to do anything like over strenuous until you're fully recovered, listen, because I embraced the COVID after that, mate. I was like, oh no, I'm dying again, mate. I'm dying again. I'm not going out. Can't do anything now. Dunzo. Learned a valuable lesson then, because You don't want to be lifting up stuff after a 10K.
So yeah, he walks in and my mum's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You remembered." And he's just like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
And then straight into the kitchen and you make whatever it was. Honestly, I can't remember. I don't even remember eating it. I don't think you remember eating it. But anyway, he goes upstairs to my room and that's him for 3 days.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Morning, evening, night time. He doesn't eat. He doesn't drink. He is sleeping for 3 days. And I'm like, is this guy okay? Like, I've just kind of met him. Like, is this guy
I told you. My body told me it would shut me down. And it's like, okay, it's going to just put me into a socially acceptable version of a very controlled, tiny 3-day coma where I'm going to wake up to poop and drink enough fluids to not pass away and then go back to hibernating. Because, man, I was done. I was cooked, bro. I was cooked through after that. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the COVID story. So, anyway, 3 days go fast. And then I think day 4. Oh, no, because we got COVID tests.
Oh, no. Listen. We've got to drop this one. So, right before Dan got pregnant, right, she had booked a holiday for like a wee trip away for her mum and her. And obviously, there was a little hot tub, a little cabin. They were going to have wines. They were going to have a right girly time. And our mum lost her mind. She was like, I've never done anything like this. It's amazing. Dan finds out she's pregnant, finds out she can't drink or go in the hot tub. So for the whole night, I'm getting messages like, my mum's been in this hot tub for like the last 2 hours. I've just been in the house. And I start getting sent these pictures of this unconscious woman with a glass of wine balanced in one hand, just slowly floating asleep. I mean, loving life. And she was
I'm
like,
just sitting in the log cabin myself, like, there's only certain foods I can eat. I'm shattered. I can't go in the hot tub. I can't drink. My mum's just loving life, and I'm like, oh my days.
I could not handle like the thought of like these movie plots where people like switch bodies. Like the thought of waking up. Like it'd be great to wake up and be a really hot bird for a weekend, right? Because there's some things I'd like to try out. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, the stress of all of that, just trying to transition from being a dude to now being man, babies, pregnancies, social this, social that. Nah, man. Like, too much. I couldn't handle it. So, testament to all you ladies, because I could not do it. It's testament to all you modern ladies. 100%. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. What the hell have we been talking about for 2 hours, man? I put a one in the side chat if you've enjoyed these sort of chitty chats with Dan. They're never going to be the most.
Oh no, they won't. I'm not a streamer, a YouTuber. I'm just in for a little chit chat.
Yeah, until you're ready. Trust me.
Until what?
Until you're ready.
If I'm ready.
Oh yeah, you're gonna once give it like 2-3 months, and you'll be well integrated into doing stuff and having chats and being part of it all.
I can have a chat, but I'm not like you that's got a whole channel and people follow you, hear from you, whatever. Like I just talk a load of beep.
Shish kebab. Yeah. So, but I really enjoy just sitting and chatting. This sort of stream where we have a little topic, we talk about it, and then we just it feels very much like how it would be if we were all sat in our living room chatting at the weekends. That's what this feels like to me.
I'm just about bants. I just like
I'm just about bants. I'm for Glasgow.
Oh, shut up. No, I just tell funny experiences with us.
Dan ran the channel today. Dan runs everything, mate. If you seriously think if you're in a relationship, right, and like,
he's gonna hate that. He's gonna hate the fact that Dan ran the channel.
Nah, listen, I'm not.
Do you know what? Forget Project Rook, Project Dan.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Now, listen, I'm very, very happy the dynamic between Dan and I when we're on a show like this, you know. And I will say as well, he did really well identifying the dynamic of us chit-chatting in a format and me doing the start of the show where I was talking. You really took to that well. So you did really well.
Me?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, you. Oh man.
What do you mean I've taken to it well? I was just having a chat with you. I thought you were talking to someone in the comments.
No, what I mean is at the beginning, for the first hour of the stream, I was doing like a presentation style, you know, telling the audience.
Yeah, I was seeing it over though a lot.
You weren't
a lot
jumping in, you weren't, you know, doing anything like that. And that because obviously when people take me off the topic, it's all gone because the ADHD just erases everything in my brain. But it's great. I'm enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? And the sort of late night show is the format I want. It's not a prime time slot. We don't have to focus on.
He likes a late night show because most of the people that watch are from America. So it's 1 o'clock in the morning now for us.
Here's the thing.
Probably in America, it's like what, afternoon, evening? Someone actually in the comments said good morning.
What do I wear under my kilt then?
Nothing.
There you go.
Okay, that's random. What do I have? What do I have in my cereal?
Milk.
Like that was random.
Yeah, I was just noising you up with it. We've had a lot of the girls been simping over your accent. We've had a lot of Dan.
It's the same accent as yours. Oh well, no, you're Edinburgh.
Absolutely not. How dare you? How dare you, West Coast?
You're Edinburgh and Glasgow.
You are north of the wall, freaking wildling is what you are, mate. Okay, I brought you into civilization. All right, from the West Coast to the East, my G. I take it all back. I don't mean that. But yeah, for me, anything outside of Edinburgh is north of the wall in Game of Thrones. That's just how I see Scotland. Yeah. Plus, Glasgow is really annoyed. Like, there's 8 million people in Scotland, and I think 5 million of them are in Glasgow, and they're not the capital, and it really annoys Glasgow. Because Edinburgh's tiny compared to it.
No, it's not. Edinburgh's bigger than Glasgow.
What are you talking about?
Is it not? Yes, it is.
Oh, this is the true nature of Dan. She has these moments where she just opens her mouth, and you're looking at her. And
Edinburgh's a capital, so does that not mean there's more people?
Oh,
Here
we go. Here we go. Okay, so what you're saying, Dan, okay? Glasgow, with more than half of the population of Scotland.
How do you know that?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Because somebody counted them at the council? Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, and I just want to say,
I don't know. I don't look up how many people are in Glasgow and how many people are in Edinburgh. I don't care for that.
Dan has these moments where she goes through her day as a normal person, and then she will say something that is one of the greatest things I've ever heard in my life, such as what you just heard there. And I love her dearly.
Oh, that's not really like.
Oh no, don't worry. We'll let everyone experience Dan naturally, you know, because there's been some absolute bangers. I can't remember.
For example, so I'm a vegetarian, and for so long I was eating a Scotch egg, and it tasted so good.
Yeah.
But little did I know, it was egg and batter. To my knowledge, that was all it was. But the reason it tasted so good is because there was sausage in it.
Yeah, it's an egg wrapped in sausage, wrapped in batter. A boiled egg wrapped in sausage, wrapped in batter. And she's just nomming through these thinking, vegetarian life, mate. Let's go. This is delish-wish. No, mate. No. You've done it a few times, though. You should.
And then patty as well. I thought patty was just some sort of like butter. And I'm like,
do you remember you were eating the blocks of butter at my mum's house thinking it was cheese? And you were like, this cheese is banging. And I went over it against someone. I was like, Dan, that cheese is Lurpak. Brilliant, mate.
Listen, that's my baby brain.
That's why you are the most incredible woman in the world. I love you dearly for your madness. It's just part of you. Well, not the best part. Come on, Shane. Okay, so listen, tomorrow night, man, we have got our first episode of the Cryptid Show at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And the story you're going to be hearing is from a man named Matt, who, as a young child, witnessed and survived a brutal dogman, wolfman encounter. His story is all over the internet. He's gone viral on many occasions. And Matt has been kind enough, it's taken months to get this lined up, but he's been kind enough to come and join us tomorrow night. And it's going to be an incredible show. So if you're into the cryptids, if you're into inside experiences with this sort of stuff. So conclusion about the hat, man. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, mate. We'll get to that. Come and check this show out. It's going to be an absolute banger. Yeah, the dog man, absolute banger. And like I say, it's going to be an incredible one. So in conclusion, right, I believe that the shadow people that are in conjunction with the man in the hat, I believe they come from another world, another place, another dimension, another reality. And they're doing the best they can to get what they need for whatever reason to survive. I don't know. Maybe they just turn it into cryptocurrency in their dimension. Who knows? But I feel like they do it in a way that is done in a way for you to be able to handle what's happening to you and then write it off in your dreams. And like I say, my experiences of when I was young were way less intense than when I was older. And I feel like as I grew, it took more to scare me and it took more of an effort from them to make me scared. So in the same way as vegans protect animals, but those animals they protect eat other animals, and they're not blamed for their natural cycle of life. In my humble opinion, please do not misinterpret what I'm saying for any shadowy creature or being. Specifically, my own experience with these specific encounters I've told you about, the feeling I get is very much, we're doing what we have to, and we're going to try and do it in a way that allows you probable deniability on it even happening so you can go about your day. Whereas things that really want to mess with you, they're coming at you during the day. They're coming at you when you're awake. You may see the shadow people in the corner of your eye. I'd seen the man in the hat in the mirror. Now, that's the part I can't explain to you. That's the part of this algorithm where my whole theory falls apart. Because I have vivid memories of him when I'm awake, in mirrors, all over the place. But here's an interesting theory. What if the shadow man in the hat is watching over me, making sure when those red-eyed or those black-eyed, scary, see-through things come for us, they're kept under control and it never goes too far? Could it be that? I don't know. But I never got touched. And other than my interpretation of what I was seeing, creating the fear, that was it. So I've got a lot of answers. I've got a lot of questions to things that I'm going to discover. I'm going to, at some point, reconnect with these beings. And I'm going to make damn sure of it. There is incredible ways that I can achieve this. And I will get some answers. I am on a journey where my level of fearlessness when it comes to stepping through to communicate, antagonize, communicate, work with things that have never lived. We're not talking about ghosts or spirits. We're talking about things that have never lived as we know them, is where I'm going this year. You know, when things are so evil, they manifest a poltergeist. When things are ancient and understood and have attached themselves to lands or places or objects, it's time to go and press for some answers. And I can't wait. I really, really cannot wait. Because I've had 100% solid confirmation years ago from the other side that I am indeed protected. And that has given me a spiritual ego like I cannot explain. I love the scary noises. I go towards them. I want to investigate because I want answers. And I can't wait. Can't wait. I'm going to take you all along with us. New content, Sean Atwood channel. Me and Beverly have talked about meeting up, doing some ghost hunts, doing a lot of things. But as soon as Dan is fully recovered and she can be left alone in the house, we are going to go back to the location I started off on, right? We're going to go back to Greyfriars Kirk. We're going to go back to the site of my equipment being thrown and the site of my original investigation. And we're going to get some answers. I'm going to do some things this time, though, that will be done off camera that are things I'm happy talking about, but I'm not ever wanting to show anybody the things that I'm going to do on this occasion with regards to magic and summonings and all that kind of stuff. It's not dangerous. It's not serious. It's just, there's some things that are like, oh, play along at home, guys. Do you know what I mean? But I want to taunt some things out of their area. Hang on a second. Is that my Discord you've just posted there? Is that our Discord? That needs to not be live. Hang on a second. Anyone that's come through on that link, you're very welcome to say. You're very welcome to stay. But no, that's all right, Mac. Don't worry. I'm excited to get the doors open, mate, and it's a good crowd. I'm not worried about this crowd, but anyone that did come in, you're very welcome to stay. We are going to be no, you're fine, mate. We're going to be reopening the Discord this week, and because I want this community to be just that, a community, I'm going to treat it like any other establishment where adults hang out. Okay, a bar, a club, a concert, whatever. And you are going to have to prove who you are to me or one of the higher up members of staff. Because we don't want any people who are stupid enough to think that they can come and metaphorically wee-wee in my cornflakes. We have built something here that is incredible. We've got a couple of people who are close to 70 years old and have never used Discord, who are flourishing with people of all age. Well, everyone's an adult, you know what I mean? But it's fascinating to see, because when you are of any age, you know yourself this, right? You know, of any age, people aren't going to judge you for how you look if you're older or whatever, if you're a little avatar on the internet. And all of a sudden, we're interacting with people of all different ages, and people aren't even really interested in ages because they're just talking about content. And all of a sudden, friendships are growing, and all of a sudden, you've got this community that has become a freaking solid foundation for 2025. And the mods, the admin, all of the community members, that's all down to you guys, okay? I've taken a very different approach to this community as communities that I have done in the past. And I've been lucky enough to have a staff that's been with me for 6-7 years, some of them. And it's the first time where I've been so confident and proud and honored to have a team where I can say, right, guys, I trust you all so much. You just make decisions that you think is right, because I trust all of you. And it's a beautiful thing, because I have been a control freak for a long time. It's not so much prevalent in me now, but when there's people in your life that, for reasons you cannot explain, have stood by your side through the highs and the lows, and you're somebody who usually expects people to give up on you. or walk away from you. There's people in my life that I have met through YouTube and doing this that have proven what true friendship and what can actually grow between human beings on a platonic level. It's incredible. It's just incredible. And I'm so excited. So my little brother in America is getting married this year on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
He's a freaking maniac. So Dan and I will be having Christmas this year, and probably on the 20th. Yeah, we'll be having Christmas this year here with Nova, and then literally throwing Nova to whatever family member will take her while we leave, and jumping on a plane on the 27th to come out to the States. And we'll definitely be there for a minimum of 2 weeks, because we'll do the wedding and then we'll pick a location and we'll be like, right, where's everybody in the community from? And we'll do a big meetup. And then Mac and I, I'm not going to lie, Mac and I will probably need a solid 40-hour block of time just to, and probably we need to get Randy over as well. We'll get Randy over. We'll fly Randy in. And Morgs. Like, there's so many people. But in my head, it's a 20-minute drive to anywhere in America from Florida, but it just ain't like that. So we need to plan it all. But man, this is going to be like, there's a good chance, right? Some news report will be in the news when Mac and I wake up after our first encounter. Like, and it won't be anything bad. It'll be like, man found inside McDonald's bin, another man found somewhere. It's just going to be something weird like that. It really is. Like, it's going to be one of them. And I'm so here for it, man. I am so here for it. But we were discussing this last night. We're just going to get those air tags, right? And like sellotape them to our bodies and then connect them to our significant other's phone, so they can just air tag track us. I think that's the best idea, I'm being honest. It's not like, oh, they don't trust us. It's just a health and safety thing, really. It's really just a good idea. Do you know what I'm saying? If Mac and I think going out into the wilderness is a good idea, there's bears there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to behave, mate, is what you're going to do. Absolutely not. I'm going to behave, obviously, like, I'm not going to do anything that will destroy our trust in our relationship. I am in no way going to behave when me and Mac meet up. In no way, shape, or form. Absolutely. No, Mac will be behaving as well. Oh no, absolutely not. In fact, yes, what will happen is I'll give Mac a look, and you think Mac and Mac's wife and we'll think we're going on a double date. I'll give Mac the signal, and we'll both be gone. Phones will be off, air tags will be inserted into our orifices, and it will be a game of tag and mouse. You guys can try and catch us. We have to party our way around America, avoiding our missuses until we burn out. That's what's happening. Gumball Rally 2025. Let's make it happen, people. Let's make it happen. Oh, I remember my first beer. But that's what it'll be like. It'll be brilliant. No, trust me. You're going to Florida for your brother's wedding, and you're going to behave. Meet up with everyone. Brilliant. But you're not buggering off. No, absolutely not. That's 100%. No, but I won't let Mac do it, and Mac won't do it if I say no. So. Yeah, right. Because basically, Mac is going to be giving it. I'll send him a text and be like, look. This will never happen again. This situation we're in now will never happen again, right? Do you want to be a little bitch, or do you want to just turn your phone off and go? And then the two of us will be gone, mate. Because I'll tell you now, No, you won't. But listen, you can sell this. Mac won't. Mac will be like, oh no. Do you know what? Actually, do you know what? I'm actually glad that you believe Mac, that. Where are you? Tell me. No, Mac. In fact, Mac, just go along with it, mate. Just go along with it, because we both know what's going to happen. Let them. It's actually better if we convince them it's not going to happen. And Shelby, you can just deal with a crying Dan for 36 hours. It'll be fine. She'll get over it. Everything will be fine. Oh my days. It's going to be wild. Can two guys get married in Vegas? What do you mean, can two guys get married? Because we just need to make sure that we're far enough from places where bad ideas can take place. Because Mac and I would get married for a laugh. Are you having a laugh? Of course we would. For banter. Of course we would. So you'll marry Mac and not your fiance? No, I'd definitely marry you as well.
No.
We should probably get that. We should probably.
Do you know what? No.
We should fly,
I'm
get
done.
married
No.
first, then go to my brother's wedding, and then derail his day by already being married. Then me and Mac, I need to get married.
No.
Mac. That's a safe line. 100%. 100%. Mac, where can you buy like exotic animals in America? Like, is there like where do the people buy the tigers and stuff? We need to find like the underground, Mac. We need to go on, like, a mission.
Exotic point 2 right here. Shut up.
I don't want to buy anything. I just want to be in that, like, I imagine there's a lot of like Yakuza looking guys. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to just, you know what I'm saying? A lot of places where there's like cages with live chickens stacked up on each other and steam coming out of vents and stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
Why would there be steam coming out of chickens? What are you talking about?
Steam coming out of a vent, mate. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I do.
What do you have vent with chickens?
No, the chicken is in a cage on top of a cage with another chicken next to a pipe with steam coming out of it. I'm setting the scene, babe. I'm painting a picture. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm giving the people, I'm taking them on a journey. I'm taking them on a journey here. You don't even give me anything back. You're just going to let me.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to picture what you're saying.
Wow. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've already forgotten what I was talking about. So let's not.
You're talking about marrying a guy.
No, I'm talking about marrying Mac.
Who is a man?
Doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's semantics. It's about the level of stupidity.
All right, so you can be Ron Mac.
Oh no, we would definitely be getting our names changed to something outrageous, like, oh, I don't know, like Buster and Rhymes. 100%. It'd be ridiculous. It would be the biggest. We would have to lie. We would have to just make sure it never happened. It just bans me.
Well, okay.
And then we're going to find a kangaroo, and I'm going to fight it. Okay. Somewhere in Vegas right now, there's a guy with a kangaroo that is what gets brought out when people like me want to fight a kangaroo. And I'm going to find it, and it's going to end.
You're going to fight a kangaroo, you weirdo. What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, man.
You're not.
I feel like no, it's going to happen. It's going to end horribly. It's going to end up with like multiple stitches and me learning a harsh lesson. But I'm up for it, man. I'm up for it. I'm telling you. Like,
no.
I'm just saying. Yeah, Red, I'm with you. Yes. This is the one. This is the one.
You need to go to Australia if you want a kangaroo.
Nah, I can't do the flight, mate. I can't do the flight and then the tiny spiders that can kill you. I'm sorry, Australia. What are you doing? Why are you listen, see, in Scotland, if we had a spider the size of our pinky nail, right, a spider the size of our pinky nail that could kill, that could unalive us in one bite, as a nation, we would have wiped out that species hundreds of years ago. Every single thing that we could wake up with a bad hangover that could kill us inside our shoe has been extinct for decades. Okay?
You're not scared of spiders, though.
No, but babe, listen. You know the hunter spiders we get here, the wolf spiders, right? In Australia, there's these things called hunter spiders that look.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like,
I know how these spiders are.
It looks like an AI video, but in actual fact, it's just Australia. So I love Australians. I love Australia. I think they are stuck in a really weird time warp where it's 2025, but also it's 1984 all at the same time. And I love it. I love it. I would love to go to Australia. I would love it. The heat is disgusting.
No, you hate it. What are you talking about?
No, my version of Australia would be going from one confined air conditioning place to another. There'd be none of this. Oh, I'm just going to go for a wee walk outside. You know what I mean? I remember during lockdown, one of our community members who will remain nameless got fed up and went to the beach, and it was her on one of these super famous beaches in Australia with nobody. And she's wearing these big, like, Chanel sunglasses and a big sun hat. Wild. It looks beautiful.
Okay.
About 30-hour flight, tiny spiders that will mutilate you. The fact that the only place that you can survive is round the edge where there's a cool breeze coming off the ocean. And basically, if you walk too far out into the middle, you are done. You are a human, like, chicken tender, dunzo. You know what I mean? So for me, every time I start a car, every time I got into a car in Australia, regardless of whether I was 5 miles in the outback or in a main city, I'm just thinking about what would happen if we broke down and how quickly, it's the thing of nightmares. So there's lots of things I would love to experience in life. One of those would be going with Dan to Australia to go and do one of these day minings where you go and dig for opals. Like that would be a major bucket list thing for me. But I would probably lose a third of my body weight in the first day just through sweating in the sun. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I don't know why people from this side of the world don't see standing outside in Australia as a weight loss routine. Because in my opinion, like an hour a day of just standing outside in Australia and walking on the spot is the equivalent of like 4 weeks of hardcore diet. Because I'm telling you now, man, there is
it would be worse than that 10K walk you did with COVID.
It would be that 10K walk with COVID would have been like a beautiful walk in a breezy park on a wonderful day compared to Australia, man. I would love. See, here's one of the things, right? I would love for an airline to exist that's called like Dreamy Nighty Snooze Airline, where you get on the plane and they give you a tablet that knocks you out for the exact duration of your flight. Okay, that would be amazing. That would be like time traveling. I mean, I would just love that because 30-hour flight, man. Like, do you know how many intrusive thoughts? For a start, if Dan's there, I'm just going to get steaming right away and then realize I'm going to have to get steaming, sober up, all within like maybe a 4 or 5 hour period, 3 or 4 times in a row on this flight. Because I'm not going to be able to handle it, man. I'm not going to be able to handle it. 30 hours on a flight, I can't do it, man. I would just lose my mind. So when Dreamy Nighty Snooze Airlines is a thing, or I have enough money that I can just get a private jet and then I can just sleep. Brilliant. Nailed it. So yeah, interesting little stream tonight. Very much enjoyed the whole thing. And I just want to say thank you to everyone in the community for obviously welcoming Dan and being, very warm and open towards her. Because if you hadn't done that, you would just got to been banned from the channel anyway. So yeah, you did yourself a favor there. I'm just about to finish off a documentary that I started for you guys last year called The Occult. You're going to love it. And on the 24th, I think it is Friday, 24th or 26th, I'm hopefully starting a new podcast for you guys, and it's going to be my personal flagship podcast for the channel. I did a podcast the other day all about Elon Musk and him exposing the government for GG groups and all this, and I managed to present a very serious topic that has horrendous context in a way that YouTube greenlit. So I'm very excited to get back to something I'm very, very passionate about, because I have taken a lot of time to learn how not to say things that can derail what we're trying to do here. And I'm very excited, man. I'm so excited. Soul therapy. To be honest, we're always up fairly late over the weekends. We've got little Nova. So for me, I would much rather stay up till 3 a.m. when I know if I give Nova a really big feed, change her bum, she's going to be knocked out till maybe 8 o'clock. She'll maybe get a good 5-hour block of sleep. I would much rather have that 5-hour block of sleep than 2 lots, like a 3-hour block and then a 5-hour block. Like it's like people that do back shifts and do split shifts. Like I can't do that. You don't derail Ron. Listen, Ron loves you guys, and I will be honest with you, it's very overwhelming when I'm learning things about myself. Like I'll be honest with you. I was going to do a pull-in cards night tonight, right? Where I was going to bring people on a Discord or do something and just practice the crows and using the cards. And I bottled out. I was like, oh, I don't want to come across as like, oh, I know how to do this, or I'm doing this because I'm good at it, or anything. And I bottled it. I was like, oh no. So one night this week, I would love it if you would let me use you guys as the community as my learning curve, learning these cards. Because for me, I'm getting good success when I'm drawing the cards out and then the cards are telling me the story. Like, we're not starting at a specific place or anything like that, unless it's a specific question or situation. I can't really explain it either. Also, I want to develop my own set of cards where I have two decks. One is completely based in light and one is completely based in dark. And for every card drawn, I draw one of each. And then it's the balance between the two that'll be my interpretation of it. Because the one thing that I find frustrating, okay, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, and I don't mean this in any other way other than, like, it's as frustrating as, your pepper grinder not grinding your pepper as finely as you'd want. It's that level of insignificant. But for me, oh my God, what was my point? Sorry, Dan came in here. Oh, what was the point I was making? I can't remember. The ADHD got me. Someone will be able to put me back on track. Oh, the cards. Okay, so yes, okay, nailed it. So for me, the one thing that frustrates me is this constant focus on what people want to hear. And don't get me wrong, I don't feel like it's a misinterpretation. It's not that in the slightest. It's just, I don't understand how everything is always so positive. And again, I'm not even saying that everything is so positive. For me, I need to get the balance from both sides. Maybe that's what everybody does. Maybe that's what everyone already does. Because this isn't a criticism or a judgment or anything. This is just, for me, I need to know that I have honored both sides of everything for me. It's so important. And one more thing that I've started. Okay, calm down. So when Nova was born, I sat outside and two big fat crows came and sat beside me and stayed with me for the whole time I was outside. And then when I was back in the house, I wrote 14 pages of stuff. Okay. And I'm going to take those 14 pages of stuff and I'm going to put them out of note form into what I think they were all meant to mean. And then we're going to talk about it, right? Because I have spoken about the man with one eye that told me to follow him in the woods. And I believe that was very significant for me. And I wear a ring around my arm. Had one on for probably 13, 14 years. And then eventually it broke. Dan was very kind to get me a new one at Christmas. And this is what I swear oaths on. This is what I make promises on. And I made a promise on that ring that if I ever felt I was capable of interpreting knowledge that I was guided to or was bestowed upon me, I would try and interpret that in a way that would fit into the modern world. So, for example, when your god's a war god and traditionally you do terrible things to honor a war god, it doesn't really fit in, right? When gods need worship to exist and not enough people can worship them because of how society changes, we need them to be able to adapt. We need to fit in the loopholes of the world. And Odin was not just a war god, he was the god of knowledge, the god of poets and poetry. And the Vikings and the Norse people, they weren't big in just writing stuff down. They wrote a lot of poetry and then a lot of other nonsense, but they didn't really write stories or fables or, oh, here's a big freaking book of understanding this religion or anything like that. Now, hang on. There was a list of interpreted poems and interpretations of the world that were put down and have collectively been described as Odin's words. So, for example, one of these things is, be careful who you allow round the hearth in your home, something like this. And it basically breaks down as, don't trust everyone that comes into your life. Don't just allow anyone to sit round your hearth, your fire, your home. And it's very much about being cautious of the unknown, the outsiders. And I'm trying to create something for myself, for my children, that's my interpretations of those poems, those teachings, my magical journey, knowledge that I don't know where it came from, and sort of bringing it all together so that everything I'm learning has a chance to exist in the real world and exist beyond me. And I'm excited about it. And I'm really excited about the new flagship, my big show. Like I'm telling you, Friday nights, it's probably going to be 9:30 or 10 o'clock till midnight time. And it is back to business, y'all. And I'm excited. Now that I've learned to talk algorithm, and luckily enough to have a community that's so smart, when people talk algorithm in the most pathetic of manners, you guys can paste things together. And trust me, this will be one of your favorite podcasts on this channel. And it will be done in a way that we talk about topics and subjects and educate, where we dance around words and we make it consumable and palatable. But the underlining seriousness of what's taking place will always be prevalent. I'm very proud to say that my previous Ghost team, which was the team who would do all of the hackery stuff, you know what I'm saying? The leader of that is now back on force and assembling a new team. And we're going to be we'll do an investigation on the dark web or whatever. We'll complete the full thing and then we'll discuss it. This is not meeting people in real life. This is talking about data entry and the consolidation of databases of nasty people's names. And that's about it. It's going to be discussing journeys and discussing it like as if it's true crime, like as if it's a case that's happened. And there's not going to be anything that you'll see or it'll be horrible. It will just be talking about a true crime process. And we'll be using words where we just say, the website, and we all know what that means. And, the P's and the GG's and all of this. And on my website, you will have a full list of all of the algorithmic short terms. So you guys can know what's being said. And I'm also going to make public topics that we don't talk about here and why, such as the thing that that somebody mentioned that is taken from the little people and some of the elites. And when the Discord grows, we are going to do probably a 3-month trial period of a Discord-based podcast, where the podcast only exists on Discord and it's only for the Discord community. And it's to take further the teachings and the knowledge and the evidence that we've produced and taking it to you guys in a way where everything can be presented, everything can be laid out and discussed, and questions can be asked. And that's what it's about for me. And I'm going to say this to once before we end the show. I've found that I am so capable of getting to the bottom of a scenario or an investigation from a level-headed point of view, and I'm really excited to see this new version of me being applied to the old version of me's work and seeing what we have results with. Really excited. Thank you all for being here. Dan, you there, my love?
I'm here, yeah.
I just want to say thank you to coming and joining me.
Oh, well, thanks for letting me be on again.
Well, it's been a pleasure as always.
Because I'm not a talker, a streamer, a YouTuber.
Shut up. You're not a talker, mate. You're a West Coast chatterbox, mate. Yappa, yappa, yappa.
But I'm not a talker when it comes to, like...
Nah, listen, you're great.
Being on the internet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're great at this. People have really embraced you. And I love that we're sort of moving towards having our own little something. It's exciting. So thank you very much for
it's cool.
Stepping into all this with me. Love you guys, you little rascals. And in fact, you know what we'll do for the end of this? I'm going to play you the trailer that I've got for this is a teaser trailer for the documentary that's coming up. So we'll play this and then the stream will end. Thank you all for being here. We'll jump on Discord for a VC and we'll see you guys in the next one.
So along this path, I grew up in the church. I ended up spending time at Catholic schools, Catholic churches and stuff like that. And they have a prayer. The prayer is, Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now unto the hour of our death. Amen. Now, one day, me and my partner ended up at a confession. And a brief conversation with the father had them come out, sit us down. We ended up having some deep conversations. Now, one thing he conveyed to me was that he is a licensed exorcist from the Archdiocese. It's a short list of people.
Tenga stretto lei qui. No, benedetto mio. Mandala via! Stupore del Dio, terrore conturba, e metus repili timori sexati, lentamente vanestano, nomina santificazione, santissimi nomi della tua, guarda firme, navi, cadere, paura, per Cristo, non paradiso, benedetta su Cristi, la Maria nera, le messe nere, le messe nere.
So what people don't know is each exorcist has a team. Now on this team, he usually has a bodyguard, security, someone along those lines. So we ended up getting contracted to accompany him on one of his jobs, which was indeed an exorcism. And I learned very fast that there is a spiritual realm. I learned very fast that demons do exist.